So I've been putting off learning Rust for an embarrassingly long time. Every time someone brought it up, I'd nod and say, yeah, I'll get to it, and then go back to writing C like a normal person with no regard for my own well being. Then I actually sat down with it for a week, and I genuinely don't know why I waited this long because for security work specifically, this language is something else entirely. Let me explain why Rust exists before we talk about how to learn it, because the why is what makes it interesting. C and C++ are fast and powerful, and also responsible for an enormous percentage of every serious vulnerability that's ever been discovered. Buffer overflows, use after free bugs, null pointer dereferences. The entire memory corruption vulnerability class that malware analysts and exploit developers spend their careers studying exists almost entirely because C trusts you completely, and you are not trustworthy. Nobody is. Rust was built around one core idea. What if we could have the same raw performance and low-level control as C, but make the entire category of memory corruption bugs literally impossible to compile? Not harder to write, impossible. The compiler just refuses, and somehow they actually pulled it off. For security work, that matters in two directions simultaneously. If you're doing offensive work and exploit development, understanding Rust makes you better at finding the memory bugs that Rust prevents because you understand exactly what C is doing wrong. If you're doing defensive work or building security tools, Rust gives you the performance of C without handing every future code reviewer a list of potential vulnerabilities. Either way, you win. The way most people try to learn Rust is by fighting it immediately. They write C-style code in Rust, the borrow checker rejects everything, they spend the week confused and angry and give up. The borrow checker is Rust's mechanism for enforcing memory safety at compile time, and it will humble you in ways you did not expect. The trick is to stop fighting it and start listening to it, because every time the borrow checker rejects your code, it's telling you something real about memory that C would have just let you do wrong silently. For actually starting, the Rust book at doc.rust.lang.org is free, comprehensive, and genuinely well written in a way that official language documentation almost never is. Read it. Actually read it. Don't skim it. The chapters on ownership, borrowing, and lifetimes are the ones that feel confusing at first, and are also the entire foundation of everything that makes the language interesting. Get through those, and everything after clicks much faster. Alongside the book, do rustlings. It's a collection of small exercises that run in your terminal, each one teaching a specific concept, and the feedback loop is fast enough that you're actually learning instead of just reading. Think of it like a less terrifying version of Bandit, but for Rust concepts instead of Linux commands. Once you have the fundamentals, the projects are where Rust gets genuinely exciting for this field. Build a port scanner first. Rust's concurrency model means you can scan thousands of ports simultaneously with zero data races, and the compiler guarantees that, not you. The performance difference between a naive Python port scanner and a properly written Rust one is genuinely shocking the first time you see it. And understanding why requires understanding what Rust is doing with threads under the hood. After that, build a basic network packet parser. Rust has a library called pnet that gives you raw socket access and the ability to craft and parse packets at a byte level. Building even a simple packet inspector teaches you more about protocol structure than reading documentation ever will. Then look into writing a basic binary analysis tool, something that opens an executable, reads the ELF or PE headers, and extracts information about sections, symbols, and imports. There's a Rust library called Goblin specifically for parsing binary formats, and working through this project gives you an understanding of executable structure that transfers directly into reverse engineering work. For resources beyond the official book, No Boilerplate on YouTube is the channel I wish existed when I started. Fast, dense, genuinely exciting videos about Rust that somehow make the borrow checker feel like a feature you actually want instead of a punishment. John Gangstead's streams and videos are for when you want to go genuinely deep. He builds real things in Rust on camera, and the thinking out loud is worth as much as the actual code. And for the security-specific side, read through the source code of tools written in Rust, like ripgrip or FD, and just study how experienced Rust developers structure real programs. The honest timeline, the first 2 weeks with Rust will be slower than any language you've learned before, because the borrow checker is a genuinely new concept that doesn't exist anywhere else. push through that period without giving up, because week 3 is where it clicks, and the code you write after that point has a quality to it that C code almost never achieves. Not because you're smarter, but because the compiler is forcing you to be precise in ways that make bugs structurally difficult. Everything I just described is free and genuinely good. The Rust book, rustlings, no boilerplate, the projects, you can go very far with just those. The thing that tends to slow people down isn't lack of resources, it's losing direction when the borrow checker is rejecting everything and you can't figure out why with nobody to ask who's been through the same thing. That's what Cyberflow Academy is for, a community of people actively working through these exact topics, structured material that connects the language to the security work it actually enables, and direct access to me when things get stuck. Link is in the description. Now go install Rust.
You still stuck in tutorial hell? We got full courses step by step as well. Web hacking labs, real attack flow. Not click here, actually break the code. Reverse engineering, crack moves inside. Gidra open, ego died. Bug bounty methods that actually scale. Find one vuln, that's grocery money mail. $29, that's it, bro. Skill goes up, that's Cyberflow. Python for hackers, C plus Spain. Build your own tools like this, that don't. New course dropping every month. No content drought, we stack it up. Private Discord, killers in chat. Stuck on a bug, we fixed that.